So there's a Roblox game right now sitting at over 100,000 active players, 43 million visits in less than a month. And no, it's not a brain rot game, it's not a horror game, and it's not anything crazy. It's literally just a game where you sell lemons. And I know that sounds stupid, but hear me out, because the reason this game is blowing up is actually way more interesting than the game itself. And if you're trying to build games on Roblox right now and actually get players, you need to understand what's happening here. Sell Lemons came out on May 16th. By the time most people even knew it existed, it already had tens of thousands of players. Right now, it's sitting at over 43 million visits and climbing. To put that in perspective, most Roblox games never even hit 10,000 visits total. This thing did 10 million in its first month, and it's not slowing down. So the obvious question is why? Like, what is actually happening here that's pulling this many people in and keeping them there? Okay, so you load into Sell Lemons and your dad gives you $1. That's it. No tutorial, no pop-up explaining 47 different mechanics. You just have $1 and a lemon stand and you figure it out. And you figure it out in about 30 seconds because the game is that simple to understand. You click to make lemons, customers buy them, you take that money and you reinvest it into upgrades, and that's the whole game. And within like 10 minutes you're already in the billions. And this is the first lesson. The game doesn't make you work to understand it, it just lets you play. And because you're not confused or frustrated in the first 2 minutes, you stay. And because you stay, the algorithm sees good session time and pushes the game to more people. It's that simple. A lot of developers think that a complex game means a good game, but Sell Lemons is proof that the opposite can be true. The simpler your core loop, the faster players get hooked. However, here is where it gets really interesting. The game starts simple, but it doesn't stay simple. Because you go from dollars to thousands to millions to billions, and it happens fast enough that it always feels like you're moving. There's always a next upgrade, there's always a next milestone. You never hit a wall where you're just grinding the same thing for an hour, waiting for something to happen. And they layer new stuff in slowly, you don't see everything at once. First, it's just the lemon stand. Then, managers show up who automate everything. Then you unlock a teleporter. Then there's this alien investor that turns out to be a rebirth mechanic. And then there are hidden buttons in the game that only appear after you buy certain decorations. So players are literally discovering things that they didn't know were there. That slow reveal keeps players curious, and they stick around because they genuinely don't know what's coming next. And that's the second lesson. Your game should always make the player feel like there's something just around the corner that they haven't seen yet. So they hook players fast and keep them curious. But how do they get them to come back the next day? Offline earnings. Your lemon empire makes money even when you're not playing. So every single time a player closes the game, they know they're going to come back to more money waiting for them. That's a reason to return that costs you nothing to build and works 24 hours a day. And then there's random events, things like weather that boosts everyone's income at the same time. These create shared moments, and you're not just playing your own isolated game anymore, something's happening that affects everyone in the server. That social element, that "oh wait, did you see that" moment, is what gets players talking about the game outside of Roblox. And players talking about your game outside of Roblox is basically free marketing. Now this is the part that most people skip over. Sell Lemons is made by Bloxbyte Games, the same studio that built Ghost Simulator and Bubblegum Simulator. These are not first-time developers figuring things out. They've built popular games before, they know what retention looks like, they know how to pace progression, and that experience shows in every single design decision in Sell Lemons. Which doesn't mean that you can't compete as a smaller developer, you absolutely can, but it does mean that the quality of execution matters as much as the idea. A simple concept executed well will always beat a complex concept executed poorly. So if you're building a game right now, here's what Sell Lemons is actually telling you. Make your core loop understandable in 30 seconds or less. Give players a sense of progression that moves fast, especially early on. Give them a reason to come back even when they're offline, and reveal content slowly so that there's always something new to discover. and add at least one mechanic that creates a shared moment with other players. That's honestly the formula, and it's not really that complicated. The truly hard part is just executing it well. And honestly, that's just kind of what I've been trying to do with the games that I built too. The rebirth system, the daily challenges, the offline income, all of that just comes from studying what actually works on this platform. And some of it does work, some of it did work, and some of it didn't. That's just the process. If you want to follow along with what I'm actually building and testing, make sure that you check out Road Developer Academy and join it with the link in the description. It's going to be on wap.com. And my latest Roblox game setup is also in the description if you want a head start instead of building everything from scratch. Just make sure you do some changes so not everyone is copying the exact game setup, because it's just not gonna work. Anyway, make sure you subscribe if you want to see the next breakdown and like the video, and hopefully I will see you inside of Road Developer Academy.